let's talk about what life has been like in Vietnam lately. It's Alex here from Ninja Teacher, and Happy New Year! So we're getting off to a good start with 2025. For New Year's Eve, I went out for a little bit and then watched the fireworks. It was a great way to end the year. Nothing too crazy. And January in Vietnam is actually a bit of a weird time because it's the end of the International New Year, but it's about to get to the Lunar New Year, which is Tet in Vietnam. It's the big holiday in Vietnam. So that's what everyone calls New Year here in Vietnam, and that's usually around the end of January, early February. This year it's at the end of January, and it's at least a week off. Some people take extra time off as well. Ooh, this place looks good. Looks like a bakery. Should try that out sometime. It's also the end of the wet season, so we're in the dry season now, so no rain. As usual, rainy season, it rains hard for maybe a couple hours a day and then stops. But at times there's some flooding in Vietnam, and you can definitely get very wet during the rainy season. You can still ride around with a poncho on a motorbike and, you know, stay relatively dry. But it is nice that it's the end of the wet season now, which ends around November, December, it's fully over. Okay, I'm gonna go grab some food and I'll take you with me to talk a little bit more about what's been going on lately and what life has been like here. There are pickleball courts here, which is all the rage these days. Haven't tried it, but I might try it soon. So I'm getting some pho. It's by no means the most interesting Vietnamese food, and I don't even eat it that often, but I was just kind of in the mood for pho. And I guess that's one of the things I wanted to talk about, how life has been, because you can't talk about Vietnam without talking about the food scene. Sometimes people are curious about like how much Vietnamese food people eat here. Personally, I eat Vietnamese food and other food probably about 50-50. I love Vietnamese food and I eat it pretty much all the time, but I also eat healthy food. Not that Vietnamese food is not healthy, but quite a lot of carbs. Not necessarily a huge amount of vegetables, like if you get a noodle soup or rice and meat or something like that. Depends on the dish, of course. So I kind of like to balance it. There's so many good health food restaurants in Vietnam. Here in Ho Chi Minh City, get salads a lot, go to brunch places and things like that. That's kind of the mix of what I eat, but there's just so many good food options in Vietnam. And this is what, 50K? So about $2 for a bowl of pho. Can't go wrong with pho. So I'm getting pho bò Thai, and these are like crispy donuts sort of things, but savory, and you can just throw them in there. Really good. Besides eating out, one of my favorite things to do is go to cafes around the city. There are so many good cafes in Ho Chi Minh City. The cafe scene is amazing. Coffee in Vietnam is great, as you might know. It's famous for its coffee. The Robusta beans are quite strong, so watch out for the kick that you get from Vietnamese coffee. So I like exploring all the cafes in my free time. There's one in District 1 called Su Cafe, I believe it is, that has these big bookshelves. It overlooks the Ben Thanh Market. And if you're looking for something a little bit more exciting than that, the nightlife in Vietnam is really good. There are tons of bars and clubs, and we actually hold a monthly get-together for all of our new TEFL course arrivals that have just got to Vietnam, and all our alumni are also invited. So that's always a nice way to hang out, and we do that every month. So that's one of the ways I get out and connect with our teachers, catch up with them a little bit. And we've been doing more events for alumni recently. So we had one, that dog doesn't like me. We had a little get-together on Friday where we just went to a cafe, invited alumni that could make it on that day. Quite a few of our alumni came, and it was nice to catch up with them. Some of the recent graduates have just started teaching, so finding out a bit how that's going and hearing from them about like how they've been settling in. Those have been here a bit longer. And in the last year, I haven't done quite as much travel as I have in other years, but I've done some trips like to Mui Ne and Da Nang for a friend's wedding. Actually, last week I was at a wedding here in Ho Chi Minh City, which was a lot of fun. Vietnamese weddings are a bit different to how they are in the West. They're actually broken up so that the ceremony is at a different time to the wedding party. Not as much travel, but I'm actually going on a nearly 2-week trip, about 12 days, next week. So this coming week, actually, I'm going to be going up to the north of Vietnam, exploring there a little bit, as well as going to central Vietnam. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I'll make a video, so probably the video after this one is going to be about that trip. And that's probably one of the best things about living in Vietnam, just the adventures that you can have here, how adventurous life can be. And that's something I would encourage everyone to focus on doing more of, and having a bit more adventure in your life in 2025. And that's a focus for me as well. Whatever that is, even if it's not moving abroad to live in Vietnam and teach English in Vietnam, whether it's just do more hobbies or try new things, learn new skills, whatever it is, I think focusing on some adventure is something that's really worth doing. And I think living in Vietnam gives you so many opportunities for that, whether it's just living the day-to-day life like in the city where things are new and different for you, or travel. I actually stumbled across an old photo of me when I had first moved to Vietnam. It's just this photo that I really like. I look like I'm having so much fun. I've got long hair, sitting on a Honda Dream motorbike with my backpack, just totally looking like I'm about to go on an awesome adventure. And I think I was. Around that time, I was traveling all over Vietnam. And I think at that time, I was living in Hanoi and I was going to go live in Ho Chi Minh City. So I was about to move cities, and I had been traveling around up in the Hanoi, living there, going to some places like Sapa and Ba Vi National Park and all of these cool places up in the north of Vietnam. I think a lot of those experiences were the things that made me realize that I want to keep living abroad and actually help other people start doing that. And it's crazy that was about 9 years ago now. Since then, we started Ninja Teacher as a company that helps other people do that, and we've helped over 1,000 people move to Vietnam and start teaching English. So when I see old photos like that and some of the old videos on this channel, because I was making videos back then, some cool travel videos and me having my first experiences in Vietnam. But a lot of that adventurousness and that experience that I had back then was what made me want to do what I do now and help other people start teaching English abroad so that they can travel, earn money, and make a difference by teaching English. That's what a lot of my life is involved lately. This last year, it's been busy. We've helped people get TEFL certified and start teaching English in Vietnam, move to Vietnam, help people with that whole process of getting started teaching English abroad. We also moved locations, so that was quite a lot of effort to move locations, but we're really happy with the new place. Right on the new metro line in a great location, not far from District 1, really nice and central. And we had one of our teammates, Ivy's birthday last week, so that was fun. Just got a birthday cake and celebrated that at the office. Quite a few of the team members are taking some time off now because, as I mentioned, this is a slow time. We're not running a course right now because it's just before TET when everything shuts down. But it's also a nice time in Vietnam because people are getting ready for the end of the year. A lot happens during the TET holiday. So yeah, a little bit of a quieter time now in January, then the TET holiday. And then for us, we're running courses throughout this year. They have these little plastic stools right next to the river here, where you can get a tea or coffee or something like that. Kind of cool. Right here next to the river. You can see landmark 81 there. I don't know what that thing is. Can you hear that? I don't know what it's doing. It was only 30k, just over $1. And of course there was the big news of the metro line opening a few weeks ago, which was a big deal. The first metro line in Ho Chi Minh City, and you can see it going over here. Pretty cool. Gave that a ride and tried it out in another video on the opening day if you want to go check that out. Yeah, 2024 was a good year, and I think 2025 is going to be a great one. There's so much to do and see in Vietnam, and if you are planning to come out and spend some time here or live here, some snacks, then I think that's a great thing for you to do. Vietnam, like anywhere, has its pros and cons, but I think life has been really good lately in Vietnam. Ooh, there's another bakery over here that I've been wanting to try. Let's see if I can see it. I think it's this one right over here. Yeah, look at this place. I swear I'm not obsessed with bakeries, but there's a lot of good ones. Look at that. Okay, so I think that's it for this update on what life has been like lately in Vietnam. And stay tuned for more videos about teaching English in Vietnam and life in Vietnam. And I'll speak to you soon. Peace.